Hi everybody, it's Mackenzie and I wanted to come back and do a little update. I have been major slacking. It has been really hard to sit down and do a sit down video, but then I've been thinking to do more vlogs because I haven't vlogged in a while. And I like to have those, to have the memories even just for myself of what the kids are up to and what they're doing and actually seeing them in action. I think I'll vlog and then I'll maybe pick up the camera once and then I'll forget all day long. So it's not much of a vlog, you guys. Annabelle is now 8 weeks old. Not 2 months yet, but getting pretty close. There, she's a happy girl. She is super sweet. But this update is actually going to be my update, breastfeeding and postpartum and just how things have been going. First 6 weeks, I guess the first 8 weeks now since it took me so long to make it. At 4 weeks I had a postpartum check, and that is when I had completely stopped bleeding. It took a little longer than I thought I would because with Nemi and Josiah I was pretty well done bleeding at 2 weeks or even earlier. This time, most of my bleeding was gone in the first week, but I still was spotting and having some weird stuff up until 4. Definitely not abnormal. I was super blessed to stop really fast with the boys, and it's totally common to bleed for 4 to 6 weeks, so nothing too out of the ordinary. Probably more just being busy and active because I have 4 kids and I can't take it just super easy like I could when I had one baby or just all younger kids, and now my kids are busy and active and running around and there's 4 of them, so there's just lots to do. Had some weird pelvic pain for weeks after I had her that I was actually getting concerned about. My midwife suggested that I go see another chiropractor. You are just looking at mama. You just looking at mama. Aww, a big smile. Did see the chiropractor when she was 5 days old. She suggested I go back. I think I had talked to her on a Friday night, so I was like, okay, Monday I'll call. And by Monday, after I was concerned about it, I really wasn't in a lot of pain, so I was gonna wait and just see what happened, and it kind of worked itself out. So I haven't had that anymore. It corrected. I'm guessing it was just part of the healing process. Breastfeeding, first she was not happy that first few days until my milk came in. Then she did good. Her latch has seemed more shallow than I would probably prefer it to be. I don't feel like she has the best latch ever, but it doesn't hurt anymore. It did for a little bit. She's still a very efficient nurser and she's still gaining plenty of weight, so we're not worried about that. I actually have been pumping for a cousin when she was 4 days old and my milk was coming in pretty well and I thought most of the colostrum was gone. I immediately started pumping extra. I tried to pump extra, and with the boys I ended up donating breast milk with both of them. And I had somebody that I had donated to in the past had a baby again, and I didn't know if she would need my help or not, but I had in mind to go ahead and start pumping right away, and I did. And so I slowly built up my supply, and now I'm pumping between 12 and 16 ounces every day on top of what I am exclusively nursing her. Supply is not an issue. None of that's an issue. She just has a little bit more shallow of a latch than I would prefer. So if she nurses for a long time, which she doesn't, she normally honestly nurses maybe 5 minutes and gets what she needs and she's happy. But goes 4 hours during the day, which is rare, but sometimes it'll happen. Then she might nurse for 20 minutes. If she nurses that long with her shallow latch, it will kind of start to hurt a little bit. So I don't really know what to do about that. I asked my midwife if there was a tie or anything, and she checked and said that no, she looked fine. So my guess is she just has a small mouth, kind of like I do. My supply really regulated itself pretty early. If I go a long stretch of time, I will start to get sore and engorged, but pretty much my body, what it's doing, I haven't had many issues with being super sore unless I'm going very long stretches. I did go do a girls' day one day where I was away for about 6 hours, and that was painful. But other than that, no real engorgement issues. It's all going pretty well. Where nursing pads or anything because I never really leak at all. So that's not a problem. So it's just super easy, going really well with her, which I am glad, because I did have great success nursing my boys, but my older daughter I did not, and I was a little nervous. I don't know why. Like, it's not because she was a girl that I had problems nursing her. It's because she was my first baby and I didn't know anything. And I got bullied by doctors and stuff. But I was a little nervous about nursing a daughter again. But it's going just fine, isn't it? You can tell by looking at her. She's well fed, huh? Yeah, say, I am well fed. Look at my double chins and stuff. Yeah. Today, now to where we are now, through all of that stuff, I did at my 4-week checkup, my midwife mentioned, midwife usually doesn't think pap smears are necessary on everybody. It's not a routine thing that she does, but she recommended that I go ahead and get a pap smear since I have had the molar pregnancy. And she was like, I just want to be honest, we're going to check for cancer because you do have a higher risk since you've had a molar pregnancy, blah, 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 blah. But she made it very clear that I didn't need to be fearful about it. But since it had been a while since she had done one, she needed to make sure she had everything she needed, bless you, to send in the lab stuff and whatnot. So we went ahead and scheduled that for another few weeks later. So today, she's 8 weeks old, and we went ahead and went back in. I had the pap smear done. From what she could see and tell, I had healed really well. Nothing was abnormal. Of course, you still have to send in to the actual lab because there might be something like in the cells that would set off a red flag. Also felt my uterus, and she said I actually have a retroverted, or sometimes known as a tilted uterus this time around. It could be, I don't know if I've always had it. She said maybe I've always had it, or maybe it just happened after childbirth this time around. So I'm not sure. But she said it was interesting because sometimes when you have a retroverted or a tilted uterus, you can have fertility issues and struggle to get pregnant. I don't know if you guys know my history, but with my oldest daughter, I was on hormonal birth control and we wanted to try for a baby. I got off of hormonal birth control, and it still took us about 5 or 6 months before we got pregnant of us trying. But after her, my other pregnancies, pretty much the first month we wanted to try for a baby, we got pregnant right away. I have not had any issues getting pregnant really at all with my first daughter. But even then, 5 or 6 months is not that long to get pregnant. There's people who struggle for years and years. So I wouldn't even say that I had a hard time getting pregnant with that one. It was more just like the natural occurrence of things. The other thing she said is sometimes OBs will see you have a retroverted or a tilted uterus and say, oh, you'll never be able to have a natural birth, you will need C-sections. And clearly I have now had 4 vaginal deliveries, 3 of which were unmedicated and completely natural without any interventions. So yeah, none of those issues. So I don't know, maybe I just didn't have it before, or maybe I did and I beat the odds. I don't know. So, but that is going on now, which I am not concerned at all. It's nothing to be concerned about. It's just a variation of normal, and it won't affect me at all. Like she said, oh, you could possibly have a hard time getting pregnant, but I'm not worried about it. I'm not trying to have another baby anytime soon anyway. So we're not worried about it. So otherwise, things are going really well. We are just trying to get in the swing of, life with 4 kids and figuring it all out and adjusting and enjoying our time together, enjoying the summer before we start back up with homeschooling and everything else that is going to happen this fall. So postpartum is going really well. Breastfeeding is going really well. And one other breastfeeding thing that I wanted to share is this girl sometimes gets gassy, so she does not want to lay down and nurse like you would normally do, like the newborn hold nursing or even the football hold. She is not like a giant fan of that, so a lot of times she ends up nursing sitting straight up on me like this and nursing like that way, except for with a boob, obviously. So that's just a funny thing that I haven't had such a little baby do before. My boys did that when they were a little older, but not even 2 months old yet. And she does that quite often. She'll be fussy, and then when I sit her up to nurse sitting up, she likes that better. So it's just a funny thing, nothing big, but it's just a funny little thing she likes to do. So that is it for our postpartum update. We are going to have a little family trip soon, and I am really hoping to vlog, even if I don't get like daily vlog in for the whole day, even if I can get clips throughout the trip and maybe make it into a vacation vlog or something. I would love to do that. So thank you guys for watching. I also still am going to get curriculum reviews out from last year's homeschool lessons and everything else coming soon, as we are finally starting to get some rest. And I hope you enjoyed our video, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.